Hey, thanks for joining us. This is your host, James. I'm so glad that you are joining us today, wherever you're from and however you're listening. We would love it if you would share this with your friends. It would really mean a lot to us as just we are trying to share the love and hope that we have in Jesus over the next few weeks as we navigate the coronavirus and what that means for us to be the church to our community and to the people around us. So thanks for joining us, and we'll get started. Well, hey, good morning, Grace Fellowship. Today's Monday. We're glad that you're here with the Rise Up podcast. My name's James. I'm joined with Pastor Tim. Tim, how was this weekend services?
Weekend services were great. We launched into Psalm 23, which is a very comforting psalm and particularly timely for the time that we're in. Mm-hmm. And I thought it might be helpful to all of us to go into some of these things that the theme of Psalm 23, God caring for us. Mm-hmm. And so for the next several episodes, we're going to talk about issues of mental health.
Yep.
And I want to begin, James, by just asking you about you and Tacey. You know, we've been quarantined in isolation for a number of weeks now. How are you guys managing with that?
Yeah, so we've talked about it. We've been almost quarantining ourselves before this anyways, mm-hmm. with Elliot and him being born at the peak flu season and all that. But we've just been, practicing Sabbath. We started that a few weeks ago. Every Thursday night, mm-hmm. 5 o'clock, just shut everything down. We'll play some music throughout the house, but we cook a meal, read a psalm, read a proverb. It's just been encouraging to us and, almost a way to relax and rest, mm-hmm. really rest, mm-hmm. Read and just bond with one another. And that's been really helpful. Yeah.
So there has been a benefit to this situation mm-hmm. that's caused us to slow down and to do those sort of things. But getting further into this, at first it started with the health issues. Mm-hmm. It moved on into the financial issues, people losing their jobs and that sort of thing. Now it's moving into the mental health issues. This isolation and quarantine is not doing well for us mentally and emotionally. And that's what we want to talk about. People are anxious and they're frustrated, they're isolated. And so that just produces all kinds of internal havoc in our souls and our minds because we were made for connection and relationship.
We weren't made to do this life alone.
We were not made to do this life alone. And when we do it alone, all kinds of problems rise up in our souls. And so I'm going to talk about Elijah more in depth on Wednesday. But in James 5, it says that Elijah was a man just like us. Mm-hmm. And we don't normally think of him like us because he was such a powerful prophet. Mm-hmm. He prayed for the rain to stop. He prayed for the rain to start. He prayed fire down on an altar, killed 400 prophets of Baal. Mm-hmm. But then in the very next turn, we find him hidden in a cave, asking God to kill him. Mm-hmm. He was on the highest of heights, and then he found himself in the lowest of lows. Yeah. And that can happen to any of us. That can happen to every one of us. That has happened to me multiple times throughout my life. Yeah. And so, and a lot of times we suffer, when it comes to issues of anxiety and depression and those kinds of internal things, we suffer in silence. We don't talk about them. Mm-hmm. And the church doesn't do a very good job. I love Celebrate Recovery that reminds us of these mm-hmm. things and embraces the fact that it's okay not to be okay. Yep. Elijah was not okay. Mm-hmm. The story goes, though, that God comes to him and restores him. He feeds him. Mm-hmm. He makes him rest. Mm-hmm. Rest is restorative. It recalibrates the brain. It resets the brain. And then he sets a new vision for he reminds Elijah that he has a purpose in life. And so all of those things can affect our mental well-being. So here's the deal. Have you ever broken a limb? Have you ever broken a bone?
I broke a bone in my foot once.
Okay.
Just once.
You would never deny the fact, or you would never hide the fact that you broke your foot.
Right.
Right? If you had cancer, would you keep that hidden from everybody?
Nope. You'd want people to pray.
You would want people to know about those things. But when it comes to things on the inside of us, number one, other people can't see it. Mm-hmm. And number two, we don't want to reveal it.
Right.
And we don't want to reveal it for several reasons. One, we think there's something wrong with us. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the people around us make us feel like there's something wrong with us. We don't know I don't know how to deal with your depression. I don't know how to deal with your negative thinking, that kind of stuff. So it creates a very difficult situation in how to process and to heal from those things. So we just need to talk about the issues of mental health are not talked about much in the church. And so I want to give a shout out to the heroes of Celebrate Recovery that help us do that. And the Word of God, when you think about it, the Word of God is not silent on these things.
No.
And it gives us a way out. So here's the three things that I want to leave us with today. And then we'll go into more depth later on. But the first thing is just to encourage people to be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest. Elijah wanted to die. And God had to remind him of who he was and where he was. One of the problems that Elijah faced was his inability to process his pain. And so God had to get him alone for a time to help him step back into his reality. The internal issues make us think that have you ever thought you were crazy?
A time or two.
Yeah, you know. But here's the thing. If you think you're crazy, if you have the mental capacity to diagnose your craziness, you're not crazy.
Right.
You know, crazy people don't think they're crazy. That's what makes them crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're sane enough to think you're insane, you're not
Right.
Insane. So there may be a lot of crazy going on.
Yep.
But you just have to be honest about what that crazy is. You know, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What's real? What is my reality? And not denying that or rationalizing that away or excusing that away or not wanting to deal with it. To get honest with yourself. That's the first step. The second thing is to get honest with God. That's one of the things that I appreciate most about the Bible.
Yeah.
It doesn't hide the fact that we have these kinds of issues.
Right.
In the Psalms, they're called what?
Songs of lament.
Of lament.
Yep.
You know, David went to God and poured out his heart to God. Job.
Half of Job, the vast majority of Job, was him just
he argued with God.
To God.
Absolutely. He and that's the thing. We feel like God has left us, and God couldn't be closer to us.
Yeah.
And so we need to pour out our heart to God. Whatever we're thinking and feeling, He can take it, and He wants to receive it.
Yep.
Okay, so to get honest with ourselves, to get honest with God, and then to get honest with people who care about you.
Yeah.
And there's two aspects of that, and that is the professional and the personal. Like I said, if you had a broken arm, you'd go to the doctor. If you had cancer, you'd go to the doctor.
Yep.
We don't ever tell a diabetic to just pray about it.
Right.
If you need medication, take it.
Yep.
The medical profession is a gift from God to us to deal with the things that are going on, that the brokenness within us.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's the first thing, but also to get honest personally with someone who knows you.
Yep.
Someone who loves Jesus and loves. I usually say it. Someone who loves you but loves Jesus more.
Yes.
Okay. So loving you enough to helping you get honest with yourself, helping you to understand yourself.
Right.
One of my favorite verses is James 5:16, confess your faults one to another and pray for each other so that you may be healed. There's an amazing power in getting this story out. And when you get it out, then you can decipher it and see what's real and what's not real. And people help you do that.
Yep.
We're a community of believers.
Yep.
And we help each other process our pain. And so those are the three things that I would say. Get honest with yourself, get honest with God, and then get honest with people who care about you. And those are going to be the three main steps with dealing whatever is going on inside of you to bring about healing. So any last thoughts?
Yeah. It makes me think of two things, and it makes me think of Jesus' invitation. You know, come to me, all who are weary. That's an invitation. So we have to accept it.
We have to accept the invitation.
Yeah,
right.
we have to be honest enough to say, I need help. I need professional help. I need personal help, whatever it might be. And the second thing with that is that most of the time we don't know we're weary until we're resting.
Yeah.
A lot of our current season and reflecting on it is all hindsight. I mean, you don't know what it was like, to quote The Office, I wish someone would have told us we were in the good old days before we were in the good old days, We don't know what we're going through until we're out of it, and on the other side. Yeah. And I think that's just from step 1 to 3.
All the more reason for allowing community to step in and helping you sort out the chaos.
Yep. Yeah.
Because when you're in the chaos, you're in chaos. You can't sort of. That's why it's chaotic.
Yeah, and for us, this is a new norm. Just all of this, I kind of compare it to your freshman year of college. If you went away you're living on your own, all that. Summer hits, you go back and live with your parents. It's not the same. I love my family, but it's not.
You're right. Yeah.
So you have to find a new norm. You know, your parents find a new norm.
Not that it's bad.
Not that it's bad.
It's good. It's just
good.
different. It's just
completely different.
It's different. Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah. So God will make a way.
Yep.
But we have to take the steps in that way.
Yeah.
To find the healing that He has for us.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday, we're going to talk more specifically about anxiety and depression. On Friday, we're going to talk about addictive behaviors, because this kind of a situation is a huge trigger for those who struggle with addictive behaviors. And then a week from today, on Monday, we're going to talk about issues of self-care and how to be kind to yourself.
Yeah. Biblical self-care.
Biblical self-care.
Excited about it.
So if you think that this is helpful, couple of things. One, share it with people that you care about. Respond to us. Give us feedback. Give us questions or thoughts. We'd love to talk about what you're thinking about along these issues. So we want to engage with you. We want to encourage you in this process, and we want to empower you to find the healing that you need in whatever the situation is making possible for you. So
yeah. Well, thanks, Tim. I'm really excited to continue on in the Rise Up podcast over the next few weeks. Don't forget, share this, send it to somebody that you know might be going through something like this, especially just in all of our isolation. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys Wednesday.
See you later.